Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Connie. Thank you so much for joining me in our podcast for Mind Your Health podcast. If you have not done so already, you know how grateful I would be if you subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel, Dr. Connie Gian and Mind Your Podcast. It can be found anywhere that podcasts are broadcasted, which includes Spotify and iTunes and so much more. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is that we have what's called the Alkaline Method Empowered Healing Circle. It's a program that I created. It's a membership where I provide you with all the things that you need to equip your mind and body to really truly heal from the inside out from autoimmunity. There is no program like it out there. Most of the programs focus on a particular way of eating, recommending supplements and all those things. But I know firsthand in living with my autoimmunity, specifically lupus, that was really intractable at times, like impossible to deal with as far as the symptoms. I know that it takes a lot more than medication, supplements, and dietary changes. It really requires you to go deeper. And so today, I want to really introduce and invite you to join me in the Alkaline Method Empowered Healing Circle. It's a membership-based program, and see how you enjoy that program, because we provide you with 3 times a week. You get to join me for meditation as well as yoga, healing yoga, to address all types of needs that you might have, as well as to improve your flexibility and strength, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's the only program in its field to tie and integrate all aspects of healing for you. So today I want to talk to you about and break down the stress, gut dysfunction, and autoimmunity, right? Because at the end of the day, autoimmunity is the end result, yet most of us focus on this outcome versus addressing the root cause. Today, I want to help you to understand the culprit of autoimmunity, and you'll learn how we've been harboring autoimmunity for years before it manifests as a full-blown disease in the conventional medical model. We've all heard that stress is the culprit to many of our diseases, but how is this related to autoimmunity? We care to the extent that we can understand the relevance. So let me explain. Stress can be many different things. We live in a stressful world right now with so much fear and confusion regarding the current pandemic. It can be bullying, both big and small, when you were a child. It can be petty fights with a boyfriend, verbal or physical abuse. It can be divorce, sickness, move. Life really is full of stresses that we tend to ignore. But rather than learning to embrace such stressors, some of us resist, react, and distract ourselves with behaviors that don't really help our bodies, ultimately leading to something like autoimmunity. So stress over time can become very toxic. And when stress becomes overwhelming, it affects our gut lining. How is that, you might ask? When we are under stress, we have our hormones that become disruptive, which includes our hypothalamus in our brain, pituitary, as well as our adrenal glands, that can essentially alter all hormones in the body, including our cortisol, sex hormones, and even thyroid. But often the medical system may address the symptoms rather than getting to the root cause. And when we address the symptoms only, we tend to perpetuate the underlying issue that is triggering our immune response. So stress affects the permeability of our gut lining. We know this through the vagal nerve. It's the sympathetic autonomic nervous system that's divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And many of you heard of the popular term leaky gut or gut permeability, and this is how that's linked. And this is why many autoimmune patients have food sensitivities and are scared to eat, and gut issues, including SIBO. And most of the holistic and functional medical or even nutritionists will tell you to take away the food. Let's take the food sensitivity test where you're down to like 5 foods that you can eat. I've been there for many, many years. It doesn't work. The whole goal is to be able to really fix yourself, to be able to enjoy all things life has to offer, including all the foods that you want to eat. When the permeability or gut permeability is increased in the gut, we tend to have overabundant amount of toxins entering our body. And this is typically, it builds over time. And it can create a backup of toxins that our immune system cannot clear out. Then it becomes a problem. Imagine it's much like the plumbing system in your home. When we have a backup of plumbing, we have problems on our hands, right? You and I both know. This is when the toilets won't flush. We may have smells and mess, which is like the symptoms in our bodies that gets our attention. And when we have toxins coming in at an alarming rate, our immune defense begins to lose its battle. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker. Our immune system is good at clearing all the debris from our immune response, but when we're not able to properly clear the immune complexes from our body, our immune system begins to mistake our own tissue as toxins and turns against ourselves. Hence the term autoimmunity, destroying our own cells. I often say that autoimmunity is an intolerance to ourselves, and in essence, it is. Why? Because many of us live with the belief that we're not good enough. Self-worth struggles are so much to a point where we create chronic stress in our body. How is that? Well, when we don't feel good about ourselves, we habitually think negative thoughts, which create negative feelings, which drive negative behaviors to create unwanted results. And unless we fix the source of our stress, we can never fully heal. So when patients ask how to reverse our autoimmunity, I usually resort to saying that we must be self-empowered to heal is why I created the Alkaline method for autoimmunity. There's nobody else that can heal for you. It's your body to elicit that healing ability. It's the methodology and framework that I created to take you on a self-empowered healing journey, and it requires your inner awakening, outer manifestation, modern medicine, and ancient wisdom, yin to the yang, packaged in a step-by-step process to take you on your self-healing journey. That's what it really entails. So next time you struggle with symptoms of autoimmunity or you've just been diagnosed, please understand that autoimmunity is really a catalyst for the ultimate healing transformation. It's an opportunity. We can always turn our obstacles into opportunities, and that's the perspective shift that's required for you to heal from not only from autoimmunity, but a host of other diseases as well. It's a methodology that was inspired by my vision to end all unnecessary suffering in the world and change our healthcare for the new generation. Are you interested in working with me? As I mentioned at the beginning of our podcast, you can work with me through our Alkaline method for autoimmunity healing circle by clicking the link below. And I really want to take the time to tell you, thank you so much for joining my podcast. I can't tell you how much I'm grateful for our community and all the people that are in it that have self-empowered capabilities, and they really are committed to their own healing. You can find me, subscribe on my podcast, share my podcast. It's a good message to spread the goodness, as well as find me at Dr. Connie Jian on Instagram. Drop by, direct message me to say hello, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for joining me.